Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Welcome back to the show. You know what that means. It's time for another AEW New Era episode. Episode 2. We had a great All Out, though there were some problems with it. And the problems are, we didn't put everybody on the show. And apparently, a lot of people are mad about that. Now, we were booked to the brim when we could have done like a ton of post shows, which I probably should have done, or brought people in as like ancillary characters so they were on, but everybody was upset. So we got to deal with this. Like Hangman wasn't even there. I thought he was gone. So this is a problem. Some of these might be solved by giving people some time off. Like, I'm going to give Hangman 2 weeks time off. Maybe even 3 weeks for now. 2 weeks for now. See if that boosts them a little bit. Yeah, it's fine. Still annoyed. And I'll give him a bonus. We might have to dish out some bonuses. I found that usually 2,500 is a good starting point. Still annoyed. Oh boy. Another 2,500. Oh boy. Oh boy. He's gonna be really mad at us, isn't he? Okay. $5,000 bonus. Please. Still annoyed. Alright, we're going to still have a pissed off Hangman. We're going to figure it out. A lot of these guys should just be able to be dealt with a quick bonus. Just get them to irritated. And yeah, please, that's fine. Oh boy. Is there a... Usually, is there not a person is upset button? Status? No. So we got to be careful about that. We clearly screwed that up, and we're gonna pay for it, and we're gonna hope to just pay for it financially is what we're gonna do. So Chuck Taylor's annoyed. Here, have a $3,000 bonus. Still annoyed. Jesus Christ. I don't know if these stack. Okay, they do stack. Is irritated. I'll deal with irritated for now. Okay? I just don't want annoyed. Because annoyed means they could walk. They could do stupid shit. And we don't want that. Earl Hebner. Listen. Earl. We're going to spend a lot of money here. Is happy. Perfect. Everybody's not on there. Ethan Page, I'm sorry. I should have put you on the pre-show. Have a $4,000 bonus. You're perfectly happy. Perfect. Kazarian, I'm sorry. Have a $3,000 bonus. You're pleased. I'll take that. Oh boy, what a mess. Sheeta, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were in America at the time. Have a $3,000 bonus? Perfect. Okay. We could solve this problem. Jake Hager, do you even work here still? I'm sorry, bro. Here, have a $3,000. Money mark solution here is just Jake Roberts. You know, we didn't have a Lance Archer match. Whoa, that's a little too much. You know what? I doubt he's worth that much. He can just blow it on junk. There you go. Perfect. Everybody else happy? Joey Janela, do you even... I'm not gonna give you much. You don't deserve enough. Sorry. Jungle Boy, yeah. Could have had here. Oh, too much. Perfect. Okay. This is expensive. This is an expensive mistake. That just means we won't do it again. Listen, you're not as cool as him, so we're gonna have to swing back around to Hangman because I think we just need to pay him money. Cool. Happy. I'll take happy. I'll take pleased. Honestly, I don't even mind irritated that much, but we really don't want annoyed, because annoyed leads to furious and leads to people walking out, and we don't want that. Is everybody else okay? Annoyed. Riho, I didn't even realize you were here. Thought you were still overseas. I'm sorry. Oh man, this is so expensive. Oh, Scorpio, here, have 3,000. You're still upset. Okay, have another 2,500. You're now irritated. I'm going to give you just a little bit more. Oh my god, Scorpio. Okay, you know what? We'll deal with the irritated. I'm happy with that. Stu. Christ. What a way to start this show. But this is what you guys wanted. You wanted to see me suffer. Well, here you go. The blade wasn't in it. Yeah, here, 3,000. One day I'm going to accidentally press 300,000. It's going to be bad. Vicky, what? You don't even work here. So I think some of these we might need to renegotiate. Because some of these people should not, like, I can't even renegotiate these. Like, you should not expect to be here. You should be on a pay per appearance. Okay, I need to, we need to pop out the big guns here. Still annoyed. What do you want? You tell me what you want. I'm going to give you another $10,000. I mean, part of it is that they lose a... That's crazy. Cool. Okay. That was expensive. Honestly, though, when you think about it, maybe not... Adam Cole, you don't even work here yet. You're not due to come in. Oh, no. Adam Cole, baby. That was too much money. Still irritated. I'll try to boost you out of it. Really don't want you to come in upset. Man. Oh, this is so expensive. It's so ridiculously expensive. Oh, God, baby. All right. Here. Have 10. Have 10. There you go. All right. I think all our morale issues... Oh, it's still another one. Alex Reynolds. There. Perfect. Okay. Anybody else? Think we're good. Okay. Chuck Taylor has a minor morale issue now. That's just irritated. I'm fine with it. You know what? We spent the money. Might as well just suck it up, shouldn't we? We already gave you a bunch of money, but here, I already just handed out cash. How much money do you want? I want you to like me, Chuck. You were my favorite wrestler at one point. How much money do you... Oh my god. This is ridiculous. There you go. Okay. It's nice to know I can just money mark my way through this situation. I hope Tony doesn't hear that I just handed out about 50 grand because people were pissed off at my booking. I don't think he would be very happy with that. Scorpio Sky, I think, also was a problem. He's irritated. I'm just gonna flat give 5K and hope that does the problem. Alright, everyone got a bonus. There you go. Woo! Spent... God, I was so afraid to look how much in costs. Is it even in here for bonuses? It's not even here yet. I don't even know where it would be. I'm afraid to know how much I just spent. Probably like 50K in bonuses for no real reason. Oh, man. Jeez. Okay. For some reason, we still have another match for Juvie here, which is interesting. Okay. Christ. What a way. So we got CJ. No, that's news. Okay, CJ Perry was on a handshake deal. Moxley, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega went to New Japan, which should have happened in real life. And we did have a match thing of Elevation. So I'm still thinking about maybe breaking that into its own company. I think it would be interesting. We're also eyeing some of these companies out there. What I'm eyeing is the NWA. I'm curious to see if these guys go under, because I would love to scoop it up and own the NWA and then incorporate that in part of our alliance. Now, we do have an alliance. They're not part of it. They have their own thing, their own much more inferior thing. And we have Impact, New Japan, and New Japan of America is our thing currently. It's just a trading alliance. We could always invite other people. But I think the NWA, which does have a partnership, but because of the way this is set up in the game, because I think they're already in their own alliance, I don't think they're gonna get rid of theirs. They're already in an alliance. They can only have one alliance. We could try to bring Lucha Libre in, but I think they have their own alliance, I want to say. We'll hold off on that. That's not a bad idea to bring them in, because that would alleviate some problems. Ring of Honor, also not a bad option. They would also accept. So we do have some ability to open up that forbidden door. That forbidden door, I'm totally fine with it being wide open. If we want to open up as much as we want, the more people are in, the more potential problems there could be in terms of our alliance members and their feelings. But right now, I have a feeling they're pretty happy. If we look at the news here, we have Chris Jericho is in Forbidden Door, and they're keen on highlighting how beneficial their alliance can be, and they're promoting this alone heavily. Meanwhile, New Japan's looking hostile at NXT. So, we're fine. We're still waiting for, I believe, Ric Flair to hopefully say yes to our contract. So I would like to bring him in as a manager. Some cool opportunities there. But that's not why we're here. We are here for Dynamite. Like I said, normally we would do both Dynamite and Rampage. Because we just had a show for All Out, what we're going to do is we're going to have this episode of Dynamite, and then the next episode will be Rampage, and then the next Dynamite. So that's sort of the flow of how things are going to go. We still have these two objectives to worry about, but at the moment, they're really not going to play an impact for us for a little bit. That doesn't mean that these aren't going to come into play. Obviously, we have our familiar faces and our breakup that we have to do. So we had to break up a tag team in the next 3 months, and then have a feud with them with at least 60 heat. And we need to hire a free agent that used to be in the WWE. Now, there's options there. For that one, we could certainly look at somebody like a Bray Wyatt, who is, I think, still floating around unemployed. But he is currently unavailable due to legal reasons, because he's still under his no-compete clause. So, that might be an option. There might be other people, technically like Mickie James would work and things like that. But we want to be smart about it. So, let me know who you think we should get, and then we can start looking at it there. Let's go ahead and let's get on with the show and see what the first Dynamite of the new era looks like. Alright, before we can really get to it, we do have some decisions to make. It looks like our contract with Ric Flair is good, and Lance Archer is injured That is unfortunate. We should check medical because we have several injuries. Let's see. Hangman's on vacation for the next 13 days, which would be fine. Anna Jay should be back in 2 months. Big Swole in 47 days. Brandy in 33 after ending her maternity leave. Darius Martin still out for another 2 months. Kip Saban another 2 months. Lance Archer only 5 days, so that's not a big deal. Max Caster is on timeout for another 12 days. The Butcher apparently broken hand in 5 days, and then Trent. Unfortunate. It's another 7 months. I really want Trent back. I'm a huge Chuck Taylor mark, and I would love the Best Friends to get the tag belts at some point. I think we're also going to implement a trios belt at some point as well, and maybe even a women's tag belt. We have FTW, which is technically not a real belt, but we put it on there. TNT, Women's World, The World, and then the World Tag Team. I think a trios and maybe the women's tag would be a good thing to kind of boost up some things. So we'll look at that at some point. All right, so we do have Dynamite. Let's get to it. Where are we going to be? We are in the Southeast. Ocean City sounds fine to me. Curious at how many people we have here. Only 4,300 in attendance for the show, which is actually probably fairly realistic. We do have a backstage incident. Chuck Taylor has a problem. No, he doesn't. He's in such a good mood that he set up a pancake station. Everyone started cooking and eating. And then Ric Flair and Sting. Ric Flair is brought before a wrestler's court his first day on the job, accused of making a mess backstage and not cleaning it up, annoying everybody else. Found him guilty and sentenced him to go clean that up. Incident, small positive impact. Ric Flair and Sting, always at it. We don't need to do open form anymore. Everyone should be fine. Let's pull a rib. That seems like a very Cody thing to do. I'm going to pull a rib on 10. We could do a minor rib. We'll do a practical joke. Dennis thought that the rib was pretty funny. Take it in good humor. Perfect. And QT Marshall enjoyed the rib. Gives a good morale boost. Our last Dynamite we had, which we filmed off air, was a 58. Our minimum requirement from the company is 55. So, once we have our average in, we'll start to use that as a needle mover for momentum. And if we're up or down a certain percentage points from that, we will gain or lose our momentum chips on the bottom right of the screen. Right now, we don't have to worry about until we have enough of those under our belt. But that is quickly approaching. So I think we only need like 3 or 4 to have a rough estimate to go after. All right, so we have the New Era. We do have several storylines in play. Definitely Malachi is still ongoing. Pac is probably not. With the Andrade story, he's probably going to move on to something else. FTR, I think we're done with this completely at the moment. I don't know what to do with FTR. We're going to figure it out. Big Show's story's done. Moxley is not done yet. Kenny and Hangman is going to go on forever. Matt Jackson and Pentagon is done. Best in the World is done. Labors of Jericho are done. Redeemer versus Mad King I don't think is over. And then the redemption of Brian Cage is done. So we do have to have a couple extra storylines here. We're expected to have at least 2 storylines with 50 heat, which we do currently. So we can run currently without that, but we probably want to start setting up some other storylines. So that might be the beginning of this Dynamite, is focusing on some new stuff and kind of coming up with some new storylines to move forward on. We still have to keep in mind that what we really want to do, that main objective down there, is to go and look at our roster and find one of our 4 pillars. So, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, and we need to make them major stars. Darby Allin's currently considered well known. I think Jungle Boy is just well known as well. So we have 6 months to kind of figure out how to get that to happen. Well known, I think they're all about the same. Sammy might have actually the best position. Well known. So they're all at the equal footing there in terms of where they are on the card. And it's up to us in the next 6 months to move them up. That may be very difficult. I do not know. But we will have to see. So that's our plan. Let's go ahead and let's book the show and see what the new season, the new era of AEW has in store for us. All right, we are ready for Dynamite. We got a whole 125 minutes in. Tried to set up some storylines. We didn't get a lot in, but that's why we have so many shows to do them on. We still have Rampage, which will be the next episode, starting on our regular format. But first, let's go ahead and check out Dynamite After All Out, beginning of our new season for All Elite Wrestling and the new era. We start that new era with a 100% segment rating. We give CM Punk the mic and let him do what he does best. He cuts a promo about the aftermath of the match, how important it was to have a match with Darby, how much potential he sees in him, how excited he is to have a match with him later when he gets even better. It's just a glowing kind of just him chewing up the scenery as he's been doing on Rampage, and I figure this'll do well for a while. It's an easy pop on our segments, but that's in our arsenal, and we're gonna do it. This gets broken up by Jake Roberts, which is weird that CM Punk's not on screen because he's right there. I must have set that up wrong. But in the middle of the promo, as he's kind of cutting it, Lance Archer's music hits, and he storms out with Jake Roberts. He's storming back and forth, pacing wildly like Lance Archer does. Meanwhile, Jake Roberts is mugging at the camera, mugging at CM Punk, grabs the microphone, and they're at the stage. Punk's at the ring. He starts talking to Punk. And Jake Roberts, in that sort of grainy, grizzled way he does, slowly talks to him, goes, "You have a lot of nerve." Punk responds back to him as he gets cut off by the whole thing. Goes, I was about to say the same thing. If there's one thing I wouldn't recommend right now, it's cutting off a promo in this arena by CM Punk. And the crowd goes and gets a cheap pop as their own heat is acknowledged. Jake Roberts continues, goes, "You said you wanted to work with the younger talent, to prove to yourself that you are still the best in the world. But the big man right here, you see, he was watching your match with little Darby Allin, and he saw something, a little chink, a little flaw in that armor. You see, he has a mantra, and he thinks that even applies to the best in the world. So how about it? We see if you really aren't a part-timer or not. And we set up a match with the big man." Punk acknowledges him and goes, "You know what? I'll do you one better." And he turns towards Gorilla and says, "Tony, can you hear me back in Gorilla back there? Make this match happen tonight." Punk smirks, staring down Archer and Roberts. The crowd goes wild. Roberts is masterful on the mic. So we're going to have a main event tonight, Lance Archer versus CM Punk. We'll see how this does. I don't know. Afterwards, we have a tag team match with Sting and Darby Allin versus the Hybrid 2. Trying to give Darby Allin a little bit of momentum back after his loss. So he wins, goes over Jack Evans with a coffin drop. Darby had a 66, Sting had a 71, Jack Evans having 49, and Helico had a 47. Sting off his game. We need to move Brandon Cutler off Road Agent. Even so, does a 66 is fairly good. Afterwards, 2.0 and Daniel Garcia run in and attack Darby and Sting and end up getting the better of it. Kind of getting leveled out by the three-man. It's just a little too many people for them to kind of fend off. They've been picking and targeting them for a bit, so we're kind of continuing that storyline, going to springboard into something else, I think. But for now, I think this is a good opportunity to continue with that. Afterwards, backstage, we have the whole Elite crew talking to Jim Ross on a recorded interview. They're in their Elite trailer, their specialty trailer, and everybody's there but the Young Bucks. They're all ordained with their gold from Impact and from AAA and from AEW, and Nakazawa's there doing the managerial thing. Brandon Cutler spraying them with the stuff, all that fun stuff. Jim Ross congratulates them, specifically Kenny Omega, about his World Championship match, and then he asks him who he feels is going to be a worthy challenger after having faced Christian. And Kenny Omega smugly just says, "You know what, JR? Don't even know anymore. I've fought all over the world at this point and defended it against literally everybody who is everybody in professional wrestling. With the exception of a single fluke, which was Christian cheating to win. And I'm going to get that Impact title back. Don't worry. I've never been defeated, legitimately. I say, let's just see who comes. At this point, it won't matter. I'll barely even need to prepare." JR changes the subject about how everybody was in the trailer except the Young Bucks. And Kenny addresses that and goes, JR, they've had a difficult loss, and they're regrouping, they're recalibrating, they're re-strategizing, and I'm sure they'll be fine. I've known the Bucks forever, and I'm sure they're fine. I mean, they aren't champions anymore, don't get me wrong, but, all of us here are champions. You see the gold here. But I'm confident they will fix that shortly. So it sounds like the Young Bucks might be frazzled after their loss. And Kenny seems confident that they'll be okay. Omega struggled because the other people weren't following the script and he was improvising. And again, Brandon Cutler needs to get off the road agent work. Afterwards, first fun little change here, though I think is actually going to be happening real life soon. We bought the King of Trios. Well, actually, we didn't actually buy the King of Trios. We're just making it because Chikara's gone now. Excalibur reveals on stage a new title belt, the Trios Championships, a set of 3 titles, and announcing that they're going to have the first ever AEW King of Trios tournament, which will crown the first ever AEW Trios champion. It's going to be 8 men, and the first matches start on Rampage next week. So we have a whole bunch of people competing in trios, adding the first of probably 2 new belts. I might actually do 3, as I think Rampage needs an exclusive belt as well. Excalibur was really good out there. Got a 45, and we start up our King of Trios. Backstage, hearing this, we have a promo with the Best Friends entering the King of Trios tournament, saying that this is something they've done all their lives, and they're very confident they're going to win and bring it all home. So it's going to be Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Wheeler Yuta are going to be challenging in the King of Trios tournament and are pretty confident they're going to do okay. Orange Cassidy did not do well without a script to follow, so that's good to know. Same thing with Chris Statlander, even so, we got a 50. We have the debut match. Well, technically not. She was in the Battle Royal, but we have our debut solo match with Ruby Soho and versus Kylan King. And this match kind of sucks. Ruby's all right. Kylan's got a lot of work to do, but we need somebody quick to put her over. Ruby Soho defeats Kylan King in 9 minutes with a hidey ho, and they actually had great chemistry, which is interesting to look at. So that's good to know. I think if we can develop Kylan King, she'll be a very interesting competitor. She's got a good look, interesting character. I think there is potential, but we just need to get her performance up and her in-ring work up. Afterwards, we have a backstage segment where Britt Baker is there with Rebel, having been watching the match. She introduces Jamie Hayter, who we did not have on the save yet, seeing her new bodyguard, and Ruby thinks that just because she's got a title shot, she's going to run through everything. I've seen everything you've done, and just know that before you get to me, you got to go through her. So, kind of calling out that she's basically not going to accept the challenge unless she defeats Jamie Hayter. I don't think she has that power in booking, but that's kind of what she's kind of claiming that she has the power to do. Jamie Hayter gets a very good for her cocky gimmick, which is great. And segment kind of 49 is a little underwhelming, but it's not bad. Bit better. We got Alex Marvez interviewing Bryan Danielson. I'm going to keep on saying Daniel Bryan. Oh, man. Backstage, the American Dragon is there gearing up for his match tonight. But he's clearly favoring an injury on his neck after the beatdown from Jon Moxley. Alex Marvez catches up with him to interview him and says, Bryan, how are you looking? You said you were looking better after that shocking assault last Saturday by Moxley. How are you feeling? And Bryan goes, I'm mostly just angry. I've come here for a lot of reasons, but mostly it was to have competitive matches with the best in the world. And that best are all here in AEW. I've got no grudges or agendas. I'm not here to take anyone's spot. Moxley seems to have problems, and I've known him for a long time, and I know how he can get, and he looks like he's spiraling to a dark place. What he did, honestly, was cowardly, and if he wants to follow up, he can see me face to face after my match tonight. I'm not running anywhere. I have no need to. So he has a match. He's upset with Moxley's attitude, certainly not happy about the assault, but seems to be saying, almost calling him out, being like, listen, why don't we talk about this, and see if you're man enough to kind of face him face to face. Gets a 54. Danielson has a match with Lee Johnson. Again, Brandon Cutler underperforms here for us. Bryan Danielson has a 82 for the in-ring performance. Lee Johnson has a 25. It was poorly paced. The crowd was a little too rowdy for a technical match, so that kind of gave us a little bit of a negative. Bryan obviously won in 15 minutes with a pinfall with a running knee. There is no beatdown. Jon Moxley does not show up, which is A-okay with Bryanson. At Backstage, we have Christian hanging out with Jurassic Express as he does, and they make their intent known as well. Christian says, I had a bad loss Saturday, and these boys did a week ago as well. But winners don't get hung up on their failures. They learn from them, they get better, and they keep going. Luchasaurus pipes in and says, dinosaurs never die. And Jungle Boy follows up with, that's why we are entering the King of Trios tournament as well. And with Christian with us, I know we're coming back with the gold. So it's going to be Christian, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus teaming up. Marco Stunt there for emotional support. Entering the King of Trios, definitely a heavy favorite to win. This gets a 63. And we start the Do You Think You Know Me storyline. Meanwhile, there's a lot of heavy segments, promo segments this episode. We have Malachi Black sitting in a dark room in a video feed, dimly lit, so much so that you can only see his face with a dark visage of something sinister growing on one side. That black spot around his eye continuing to grow slowly, seemingly revealing some kind of face paint, some kind of darkness inside him spreading. He speaks intently into the camera. He goes, Nightmare family. Dustin, Cody. Sons of Dusty, grandson of a plumber. How far they've come. Many people have asked in the past weeks why I seem to be targeting them. Some kind of personal grudge? Was I somehow slighted? No. Nothing that trivial. You see, in AEW there exist false idols. Icons of sin and decadence, falsely worshipped by those without the capacity to witness what their heroes truly look like underneath. There is a darkness that resides within Cody. I have seen it. I have seen his true colors, and I'll reveal it to the world to crumble that illusion for all his worshippers. But there is a darkness in AEW as well. I've found... I can't talk. Its foundation is rotted. Rotted by filth, by nepotism, by complacency. A rotted foundation threatens an entire building. You don't simply repair rot. You don't patch it up. You don't work around it. You carve it out. You destroy it. Cody is not the target, but simply the first. So Malachi Black seemingly saying that Cody needs to go, but also others do too. This does okay. It's 49. We gain heat for the storyline, and we see that this Cody Malachi Black story is not going to end anytime soon, but it seems like it's just the beginning of something far greater. We have a match with Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus Bear Country. It does pretty okay, considering Bear Country is not like fantastic. It's a quick squash. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston make quick work of him in 11 minutes. Moxley submits Bear Boulder. Moxley was head and shoulders above everybody else. Afterwards, though, Moxley won't let go. He is just holding on to that grip despite repeated insistence by the ref and the bell keeper to stop. Eddie has to come in and break it up. There's a off-camera or off-mic talk between the two of them as he kind of gets him off of Bear Boulder. Literally has to tear his hand off of him, like pull apart the grip. They're talking back and forth, yelling at each other. There's very clearly Eddie Kingston's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing? What are you doing? What's wrong with you?" Before Moxley pushes him hard, so much so that he stumbles backwards, and Moxley just walks away alone. Presumably the end of their tag team. Kingston trying to talk some sense into him, and unfortunately, Bear Boulder selling here looked dreadful. But everybody else came across very well. We continue the story of Jon Moxley's hatred for outsiders, and Eddie Kingston's now kind of in a weird predicament. And finally, for our main event, it does okay, all things considered. Archer is hurt by some kind of wrist injury. Unfortunately, these guys do not click at all. But it's a great heat, decent wrestling. CM Punk gets his second win, defeating Lance Archer in 16 minutes by submission with an Anaconda Vice. It's not bad. It's 75 for Punk, 54 for Lance Archer. Gets us a segment total of 62. Can't complain about it. Got the crowd hotter. It's a decent way to end the show. I don't know what this rating's going to be. Not bad, 70. So we increase it in 13 regions. We do have some popularity cap issues abroad. And we do have two product warnings that we might have to look at. I want to see what our finances look like in the save before we do anything drastic, though. Overall, though, pretty good show. Serena Deeb's opinion, Jungle Boy's pretty good, and Reigns should push that kid. I agree. Uh-oh. Well, that seems interesting. CM Punk seems to be clique building and has formed an alliance between Bryan Danielson and Doc Gallows backstage. We got a 1.96 rating, which is a 1.4 million viewers. I would love AEW got that. And Archer is still injured, so he's okay. We got a pretty good. It was a great show. I agree. I think that was a very solid show for us here. So, a very good start of the save. What we're going to do, like I said, is once we get enough of these show logs of the Dynamites, we are going to average them and keep that updated month to month. And if we have to exceed we have to exceed that or meet that by a certain amount. And if not, we end up losing momentum. And that's going to constantly be a problem for us. So that's going to make some things a little bit interesting. Right now, we still have these two objectives to work on, as well as our master objective. But I think we can we'll be able to do that. I'm not too concerned about these two objectives right now. I think one of them we're pretty much almost done already. If we wanted to make Moxley and Eddie Kingston those two, and maybe put on the breaks a Miro storyline, I don't have a problem with that. But, there's a lot of ways that we can go about it. So, I'm pretty excited about it. Hope you guys are excited about the save. I'm having a lot of fun already. So the next episode is going to be starting the normal format, which will be Rampage and then Dynamite. You'll get both shows per episode. Well, I'm super excited about. So you'll have about 3 hours of in-game booking per episode. Should give us a lot of time to build storylines. So, that's sort of the last of the shorties, even though this episode was not very short at all. So thank you guys for joining me. Remember to subscribe if you haven't, if you liked what you saw. It does help the channel out a lot. I take a lot of pride of how we're growing it, so I would love to get to that 2,000 subscriber mark at some point. Maybe this the show that does it. So if you like it, show us that support by subscribing if you haven't already. And thank you all. See you next time.